Wonderboy, congratulations on the victory. The word I keep seeing the most, I think, is vintage to describe, this performance tonight. Is that a word you would use, and what did you think about this evening?
I thought it was awesome, man. I mean, I trained as hard as I could for Vicente Luque. I know he's ranked number 14, but I think he's the toughest guy I've faced in the octagon. Definitely the hardest head as well. Ended up doing a number on my hand, but he was tough. So I knew it wasn't going to be easy. I knew it was going to be easy taking him out, and I was ready for a 3-5-minute round war for sure.
When did it happen? Do you know?
Second round, I ended up smoking him clean in the forehead. I didn't feel it till I walked back to the second or after the second round. Third round, I knew it was hurt, but I threw it anyway. At the end of it, I decided to start moving a little bit, just kind of pick my shots, because I knew it was pretty bad out there in the octagon. And you know it's bad when you feel it in the octagon, because you normally got the adrenaline going. So, so I decided to kind of back off a little bit and pick my shots in the third round.
I did want to ask you about your mentality, because you said it was the hardest fight you ever had. It looked like at some point, your style is all about, finesse and flair and that sort of thing. At some point, it looked like you were just like, this is going to be a street fight. I mean, did you feel like this is just a really, really tough fight and I've got to make an adjustment to the style?
100%. I knew he's the type of guy. He doesn't aggressively move forward, so he's done his studying. I like those guys who kind of come forward, and I use the angles to counter their attack. He wasn't aggressive, so I knew he was thinking. He was trying to get me to come in, so I had to kind of stop back and like I said before, pick my shots, but I had to kind of stand there in front of him. You know what I'm saying? So I took some shots in the process. But, I can fight inside. I can fight standing in front of you. I can fight moving. So I can fight everywhere.
Nice. Last thing for me, I know you had something to prove tonight, and you feel you still have a title run left in you, but what do you see as next, other than taking a little time off for that hand? I mean, do you see a path for you, or what makes sense for you most next?
That's a good question. I mean, of course, the fight didn't go spectacularly. Have a crazy knockout like everybody wanted, and I knew it wasn't going to be that. I knew it was going to be very difficult. So I see myself working up the rankings, and I figured I was kind of disappointed the fight, the main event ended the way it did, because I really wanted to fight one of those guys. Would be awesome. Nicest guy versus the baddest guy would be really cool, but we'll see.
Before the fight, you said your loss to Pessis kind of lit a fire within you. Can you talk a little bit about your mindset going into this one?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've never been knocked out before. My last fight is that and my second fight with Matt Brown is the only fight I felt like I've actually ever lost. The ones against Woodley and Till, I felt like I won those fights. So it did lit a fire in me. I mean, when you get knocked out, you go back home wondering, well, why didn't I see this? What's going on? Am I slowing down? Am I getting too old for this game? So all this stuff's kind of going through your head, but at the end of the day, you got to tell yourself no. I'll be 37 in February, but I consider myself, a young 37-year-old. And going into this fight like I did every other fight. I was focused. I worked hard. I trained hard. I felt great going into the gym and just pushing myself. And I got good coaches and good teammates to help me get me there. So I was definitely ready for this fight mentally and emotionally and physically for sure.
Do you feel like you're turning a new chapter now? Do you feel like you've left that all behind you now and you're looking forward?
Oh, 100%. I'm not giving up on that title. I know I'm ranked number 9, like I said, or 8. I don't know what I am right now, but I'm not giving up on it. I know I'm the best in this division. I fought the best in this division. The only guys I haven't faced are the top 2 right now. I've faced Tyron twice. Till, Johnny Hendricks, Ellenberger, Whitaker. I'm not giving up on it.
Is there anyone that makes sense for you next?
I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I would love to have fought the guys that whoever won it tonight. I mean, I know Masvidal did, and I know it didn't happen the way he wanted it to, and so they're probably going to run it back. But give my body time to heal up when I get back home, and we'll go from there.
Wonderboy, over here, front left.
What's up?
You've obviously always been so open about the Pettis fight. I'm just wondering, in that first round today, what was going through your mind? Vicente hit you with some good shots. What were you thinking there?
Well, normally if you go, I kind of take it fairly slow in the first to kind of figure my partner out to see how the feel goes. A lot of times you can kind of figure them out just by feeling, moving around, and throw some feints, and however they react to their feints can really set up some strikes afterwards. But he did land some good shots. I didn't expect him to actually come forward as fast as he did, but it was kind of like it was really cool to be able to take those shots and keep going, you know, especially after getting knocked out during the Pettis fight. A lot of guys are worried about that, and that was something mentally that I was prepared for going into this fight. I didn't hesitate one bit, and I didn't think I couldn't take his shots at all. So I think that helped me a lot. A lot of guys that get knocked out, they rush in there too soon and barely get clipped, and out they go. So I made sure we took the time off to really heal up, and I think that did the job for sure.
You mentioned fighting through with the bad hand and everything you went into going into this fight. What do you think you learned about yourself after tonight?
I learned that, you know, even in the toughest times, I'm able to adapt to my opponent. I remember, you know, in the first round, he hit me with a good shot. I couldn't really see. I was seeing two people out there in the first. Hit me in the right eye. Couldn't see very. I don't know if you saw me rubbing my eye in the first round, but I couldn't see him. And where most people would find a way out at that point, you know, I kept going. So I learned a lot out of my losses and in those tough situations more than anything.
Steven right here. You had told me, you know, about a year ago that you felt you needed to make some changes to your game to kind of open up a little more, maybe be more aggressive and just kind of fill in some of the holes that you thought you saw in yourself. Do you think tonight you win fight of the night in a winning effort? You landed the most strikes of any fight in your UFC career. Are you trending in the right direction in that regard?
100%. You know, I go out there in the mindset that like I do every other fight, to be honest with you. He was just an opponent that I felt like I had to stand there a little bit, kind of set up my strikes, throw a little bit of feints, so I didn't really go anywhere. I didn't work my ankles like I normally do because it just didn't feel right. And like I said before, a lot of times you step out in the octagon, if something doesn't feel right, you know, you change it up. You have to adapt. So my angle changed and stuff like that. It didn't feel right. Like I said, you know, going into the second round, I ended up breaking my hand, so that kind of slowed me down a little bit too. I didn't realize I threw over 200-something strikes. That's crazy. You know, it's nowhere near as Colby Covington, but I think it was like 600, right? Or something like that.
Yeah,
something ridiculous. Oh, that's right. He did. That was a 5-5 in a round fight. But yeah, man, I mean, I'm just happy to get back in that win column for sure.
Any idea like how bad the hand is? Like, is it something you think might have to get surgery?
It's
is
definitely
it something
broken. I mean, the knuckle is kind of back here.
Oh man.
So I don't know if you can see it, but it's kind of soft and gooey right here, but back here it's fairly hard. I'm not a doctor, but I'm pretty sure it's broken. But
not hurt
you
to
know,
touch it?
it's not the first time I've had to do. I mean, when I fought Masvidal back here in 217, I ended up breaking both my thumbs in the first round, and you know, have to keep finding the other two rounds is pretty rough. But I've done it once, I can do it again. So that was kind of what I wasn't really thinking. I was just doing. I mean, if you're thinking out there, it's too slow. So if it hurt, oh well. But it did kind of slow me down in that third round because every time I threw as hard as I threw, I swear I hit this guy as hard as I could. He just kept coming forward. I don't know how many times I've knocked him down, but tough, golly. He's definitely the toughest dude I've faced in the octagon so far.
You know, speaking of tough dudes you faced in the octagon, what did you think of Masvidal's performance?
Oh, he looked better than ever, man, for sure. Definitely a different fighter from when I fought him last. His striking looked good, very unpredictable. That head kick in the first round was sick. I got to give him props for that because I love to kick people in the head as well. But I thought it was great. I mean, Nate Diaz, didn't have an answer. He tried to come back with some stuff, but I can just tell Masvidal crushed him in the first. You know, at that first round, he didn't want it anymore. I'm pretty sure he wanted out of there. But hats off to Masvidal, man. Definitely deserves it. And like I was telling everybody before, that's my inspiration, bro. He did. I mean, I beat him in UFC 217. Now after 3 fights, he could be up for the title next. I could be there this time next year for sure.
Steven over here. You just mentioned that after your knockout loss to Anthony Pettis, questions came up, creeped up, whether you were slowing down or not. I'm wondering, with that being said, how much was riding on this fight as far as your future?
I would say a lot. I mean, after a third loss wouldn't be pretty good, especially in the UFC's eyes. You know, I've seen guys get booted out with less than that. So all this stuff is going through your head. But for me, that's just like, man, that shouldn't be in my head. That negative stuff shouldn't be there. So every time that would pop in my head, I would fill it with something positive. You know, I'm gonna go out there and win this thing. I'm gonna end this fight with my hand raised. So that's what I tried to do going into this fight. Actually walking out, there's so much stuff that pops in your head. You're gonna die. You know, when you walk out, that's literally what you're thinking. And I'm wishing like an asteroid comes down and blows the place up so I don't have to fight. You know, all this stuff is going through your head. It's like, it's crazy. And I've got close to almost 80 fights. And every time I step out there, it's the same. But I think when that goes away, maybe I need to hang it up. You know what I'm saying? So those nerves definitely help you when you're out there. But I try and fill those negative thoughts with something positive for sure.
Was there a chance that we could have seen the last of you tonight if things didn't go right? Did you ever think of that or no?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, you know, like I said, I'm 37. You got guys fighting until they're 41. You know, DC, I thought he looked his last fight, the one he lost, better than his other last 3 fights. He looked amazing. He just got caught. I've been there before. So I keep my body healthy. I train on a daily basis. We don't beat each other up in the gym, you know. So we train smart. My dad has been training guys since the 70s and 80s, so we listen to him, and he knows how to train fighters, and that's how we do it.
At Media Day, we spoke how, you know, you've been training smarter, and also you've been giving your body a break, especially in between fights, just to, you know, expand your career and be as healthy as possible. I know we don't know the status of the hand, but ideally, how much time would you like to take off?
Man, not too long, if this is okay. You know, 3 months down the road, hopefully that's all it takes. Hopefully I don't need any surgery, but I would love to get back out there as soon as possible.
And lastly for me, next pay-per-view, the welterweight title will be contested. Who do you have in that matchup, Usman or Covington?
That's a good fight. Both very similar fighters, both high-level wrestlers. And, you know, you got the guy who's, I think Usman's a great champion. He's got a good head on his shoulder, good family man. And then you got the guy that everybody loves to hate, which is Covington. But that said, both amazing fighters, and I think it's going to come down to who's got the best striking. I think they're both good enough to keep the fight standing, so they're both going to be forced to strike it out, which I don't mind that at all. I think that's going to be awesome. But I'm definitely leaning towards my man Usman for sure.
So, quick question right in front. There seemed to be a couple times in the second when you had Luque pretty hurt. He was down. You were trying to rain down ground and pound. And it seemed like you backed off. Was the hand a part of that, or was it just you realized you didn't have the spot that you needed and were trying for something else?
I think it was the fact that I didn't really have the spot. And when I knocked him down, it was kind of weird because he just sat down. It's not like he fell. He just kind of backed up and sat down and rolled to his back. So I was kind of like, is this guy setting me up for something? What's he doing? You know, so that was kind of going, you know, out there a little bit, kind of going through my head. So I just tried to pick my shots, and when I didn't land, I didn't want to get into a grappling match. I see that done a lot, where guys rush in, and then your opponent that you just hurt grabs a hold of you, and they recover. So I didn't want that to happen, so I tried to get the fight standing as soon as possible.
And there's also his back was to the cage. You were firing away, didn't get the shot you were looking for, and again also backed off.
Again, kind of the same thing. He's been coming forward pretty much the whole fight. Once he started backing up, I figured he was trying to lead me down a rabbit hole, and then I do that to a lot of guys as well. I'll back up, get them to come in, and then I'll plant, boom, and fire, and they run into it. So I figured that's what he was thinking. So I kind of slowly moved in, you know, tried to pick my shots and back out because I wasn't really sure. He was looking for the counter.
Wonderboy, just wondering, I mean, you've been in the division for a while now. Would you say this is the most skilled and the toughest it's been? I mean, Vicente was one of your hardest challenges, and this is not a guy that's even ranked too highly yet. Would you say it's the most skilled at the moment that you've seen it?
In a while, yes. I mean, everybody I fight in the UFC is high-level skilled. But when it came to, you know, down to adapting to somebody, I think Rory McDonald was that guy that I really had to adapt to and figure out. Because those guys like that, they make changes after every time they fight. You know, guys like Johnny Hendricks, no offense, but you've seen him fight once, you've seen him fight 100 times. But Rory McDonald and Vicente Luque, they make changes. So those are the guys you kind of have to worry about when you're out there. So I had to be very cautious. He was very high-leveled, and in his striking, Dutch kickboxing, had some good leg kicks. But then again, I mean, he kind of threw the same thing over and over again. You know, he tried to hit with the right hand, and then he hit me with a few left hooks, and he would go to the leg. He occasionally threw a spin back kick, but I felt that it wasn't natural for him. But definitely the toughest guy, like tough as in he took some shots and kept on coming. So that right there, I mean, just, you know, I've seen guys break mentally after fighting guys like that, you know. It was good. It was a good scrap for sure.
Just last one from me. Just wondering, did you get a chance to see Darren Till's performance against?
Not a whole lot of it. Not a whole lot of it. I was actually doing media and stuff when that fight was going on. I was trying to peek out the corner of my eye, but they were like, focus. So I had to stay focused on what they were asking me so I get the answers right. But I heard he won. I heard the fight was very close. I heard from some people that Kevin won it. I heard from some people that Till won it. So it was kind of back and forth from what I was hearing.
Steven over here. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Damian Maia just had a big win over Ben Askren, and he announced that he's going to fight 2 more times before he calls it a career. And if I ask somebody who would they like to match make against Damian Maia for one of those last 2 fights, your name comes up an awful lot. Would you want to be one of those guys that would fight Damian Maia?
He's a tough and scary guy, man. I don't care what you say. The guy's 41, but he would kill you in a heartbeat on the ground, grab you by your wrist, and just drag you down there and choke you out. And very scary guy. I would have to take some time to really prepare for him, but hey, I would love to scrap. Anybody in the division, man, especially the top 15, I would love to step out there with him. But my mind is set forward right now, going up. I would love to fight Masvidal again or Nate, but we'll see. Yeah, it could definitely happen in the future for sure. Is that it?
This is cozy. The gate was $6.6 million. Yeah. 20,143 people in attendance. It was a total sellout. Fight of the night was Thompson and Luque. Performance of the night was Corey Anderson and Kevin Lee. They all won $50,000. Congratulations to them. John?
Dang, a pretty spectacular event overall tonight, but of course probably not the ending everybody was hoping for. Wanted something a little more definitive, but I just want to get your thoughts on the main event as a whole and what you thought about the stoppage.
Yeah, it happens in this game. These things happen. At first, I was bitching and pissed off, and I said, they didn't stop the Tyson Fury fight, and that cut was nasty and whatever. Then I walked back and I saw Nate Diaz, and his eyebrow was literally flipped over in front of his eye, and he had another huge gash under his eye. And then I started thinking, it's easy sitting over there in my chair thinking, the fight shouldn't be stopped. And the reason we love Diaz so much is because, he's so tough and durable and everything else. But I don't know. These things happen, and didn't look good. Yeah, it didn't look good.
Instantly, Masvidal said, let's do it again. Let's run it back. Let's do a rematch. I mean, as big as this event was, I can't see it being any smaller necessarily the second time around. Does that interest you right away?
No, it doesn't interest me right away. I think that, I got asked a couple questions tonight. Diaz comes on the later rounds. If this fight had gone later, they didn't stop it, what would have happened, whatever. But it didn't. It got stopped with cuts, and Masvidal looked very dominant. And he looked good. He's looked good all year. He's had nothing but great fights all year. And if anybody's the fighter of 2019, it's definitely that kid. And I think he's got some big options coming his way.
I know you're a boxing fan, and I don't know how much you were able to follow on with what happened tonight, but they end up showing your fight there at the fight in Vegas. I'm curious.
So MGM, we're sitting there, and MGM called and said, you guys are halfway through your co-main event right now. We can't, people are losing their minds here or whatever. Can we show the Diaz fight at the MGM? And I was just like, holy shit, this is crazy. This is getting crazier by the minute. If I woke up and dreamed all this, that I wouldn't believe that it really, that it could happen. But it was nuts. And of course we said yes, and they did, and wow.
I was going to say, I know you don't like to play the MMA versus boxing game, but does that say something about the state of the sports, the health of that they're showing your main event at their card?
I don't think it's not, they're not showing my main event at their cards because somebody won and somebody lost. It's a much bigger picture than that. And I've said, and you guys know how I am or whatever. I fucking hate Oscar De La Hoya. I hate this guy. He's a scumbag and just he's a snake. And I told him not to go on this night. He did what he wanted to do, and here we are. I respect Canelo, and I respect all the other fighters and the guys who participate in the sport of boxing. And we got it worked out yesterday to where fans could see both fights. And I don't know, it's just a real crazy thing for me. You look at me, right? If you look at me, my situation, where I've been, where I've come from, we weren't allowed in this state a few years ago. The President of the United States was here tonight. And I don't care where you sit politically, you know what I mean? Everybody has their own political opinions and who they are and whatever. The President of the United States was here tonight at our event. We weren't allowed here a few years ago. Fucking wow.
Last thing for me, Dana, I wanted to ask you about Corey Anderson. He kind of shocked the world a little bit, not only with the win, but the way he did it, and of course the celebration. He came back afterwards and said, UFC, give me a title shot or terminate my contract because I deserve it right now. What do you think about him and his chances at a title next?
So he came in here very angry this week, all these conspiracy theories. We hate him, we this, that, everything else, and all this crybaby bullshit. We're trying to get him beat. We can't get you beat. You can either win or you can't. You know what I mean? We like Corey, or we like Walker better, or whatever the deal, whatever stuff that he was saying. No, some guys move faster than others. You're telling us what you deserve. Show us what you deserve. Tonight you showed us. Got it. Message received. Now we know. You guys were there. Were you not at the weigh-ins? Not one person clapped for him at the weigh-ins, right? Walker got a pretty big pop when he came out. I'll bet people will notice him next time, won't they? Right? You came out and you showed everybody. You did something. Now we'll move on. I'm not saying you're getting a title shot next or whatever. Reyes just won too, very impressively. We'll figure out what's next for you. And when your contract is up, if you still don't want to be here, you can do whatever you want to do. In the meantime, take the fights that we offer you. Pretty simple. We're not trying to get you beat. We're not trying to get anybody beat. How can I get you beat? If you think you're the best, if you think you deserve a shot at the title, how am I going to get you beat with the number 11 or 14th ranked guy in the world or whatever he was tonight? If you deserve a title shot.
Dana, just here. Co-main event, Darren Till. Obviously, he made his middleweight debut. What did you think of him in there at the new weight? And Anfield is something that he's been campaigning for. Obviously, he got the win. Do you see the UFC going to Anfield near Liverpool for his next one?
He won tonight. That's what he needed to do. You know, considering the week that he's had, should have been here Sunday or Monday. We had to jump through a lot of hoops to get him here when we did. And he needed to come out and he needed to win. He looked good. He looked big. He looked, you know, he was dominant. I don't know what judge scored that thing 30-27 the other way. Insanity. But he did what he needed to do tonight. He needed to, you know, I'm sure his head wasn't in a really good place flying in when he did and all the stuff that he had to go through. But he came in and he won. And that's what he needed to do.
What do you see next for him?
I don't know. But he's going this win probably catapults him into the top 6, you know. And so he's going to have some fun fights ahead of him.
And Kevin Lee obviously had a very spectacular finish.
So, you know, Kevin Lee did the exact opposite. So Kevin Lee, so tonight, the President of the United States was here, The Rock, a lot of other people. The place is sold out, breaking records as far as ESPN goes, breaking records internationally. The list goes on and on. And when you're on a platform like you're on tonight and the people that are watching tonight, you want to be Kevin Lee and go out and do what Kevin Lee did. I'm talking about Kevin Lee. You're all going to be talking about Kevin Lee, and everybody who watched tonight's going to be talking about Kevin Lee. So Kevin couldn't have had any won money tonight too, right? He's won $50,000. It's good to be Kevin Lee tonight. And
he's said before that he wanted a fight with Islam Makhachev, and Islam had said on Twitter that he was up for that and he wanted that in January. Do you see that being next for Kevin?
I have no clue. No clue.
So you were talking about other stars on this, dovetailing that. How about Shabazian, some of the other guys like him and
awesome
Dawodu?
So he comes in, you know, he wants to be the youngest, you know, champion ever, and comes in tonight against Tavares, who is a gritty, tough, hard-hitting, durable, you know, veteran. He's been around for a while, and he looked good, man. He performed.
And someone like, say, Dawodu, the opener, said he doesn't want to open ever again.
Oh, yeah? Why is that?
He felt a little lack of respect being the opener.
Oh, yeah?
Lurker.
It's a lack of respect.
Someone's got to do it.
Yeah. There you go. That's funny.
I don't know. And the last question I have is to dovetail on what John said earlier. Obviously, you and De La Hoya are best friends. Are you going to send him a thank you note for pushing that back and getting your stuff in the MGM Grand? Say, hey.
He didn't do any of that. You think that idiot did that? He did none of that.
Him and DAZN.
Yeah. It was much smarter people that surround him that started to do that stuff. It wasn't that moron. He's an asshole. I mean, how much more can I prove myself that this guy's an asshole and a complete just fuck up?
Go for it.
I have. I mean, was I right or was I wrong in the Tito Ortiz-Chuck Liddell fight, right? And then after the fight's over, he comes out and lies and says, you know, how they did huge numbers on digital. Okay? You're a liar. Then right up to this fight, everything that he's done. I used to help this guy. I used to promote his fights. I used to go out on social media and say, hey, the fight's tonight. I'm watching the fight or whatever. And then we do the Mayweather-McGregor fight, and he tells people not to watch. Who does that? Don't watch. This is a disgrace to boxing. But then says he wants to fight Conor McGregor after. I mean, I could just go on for days about this guy.
Please do.
He's a bad guy. He's a snake. He's a snake, he's a liar, and he's just an all-around bad guy. He's really fucking weird, too. Just to top it off.
Dana, I want to follow up on Shabazian, and you know, someone like him, Macy Barber, these like very young fighters who are 21, and they're all talking about they want to break John Jones's record and stuff. When you look at them and how talented they are, like, how do you kind of handle that? Because, you know, that'd obviously be a huge accomplishment for them, and they're winning these fights. Like, how do you navigate that timeline, I guess, to give them that opportunity, but
yeah,
as you're building them?
It's tough. You know, I always say getting into the UFC is really hard. Then breaking the top 15, top 10, top 5, and becoming a world champion is almost impossible. And you see these young, talented people that have these aspirations. But I love that. I love people who embrace being the best and people who want to win the world championship. You know, you just have to be careful in how fast you move them. I think we moved Till a little too quick. Didn't seem like it at the time, but you find out the hard way. But Shabazian looked good tonight. Macy Barber looked good in her last outing, so see what the next step is for them. We get in a room and we argue and go back and forth for hours until we figure out who we think is the right fit.
And to circle back to Jorge, I know you don't make the fights, but it seems like if Colby Covington wins, especially, there's a lot of backstory, a lot of heat there between those two. Is it? I mean, even if Usman wins, you said Masvidal is probably the fighter of the year. Is it fair to assume, you know, he's going to be fighting for the real welterweight title and not the BMF belt?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of options for him, I think, right now. We'll see. We'll see how everything plays out.
Is he still too big for Conor?
I don't know. We'll see. I'm not even thinking about that tonight. Good try, though.
Dana, when did you know that the president was coming? And can you give a little insight into what the last 48 hours have been like? And also, were you nervous? I know you're not a nervous guy typically, but were you nervous at all about the crowd reaction to the president?
So when he was elected, he called me the night that he was elected and told me to get down to the party, the after party, and I went. And he wanted to come to the Conor McGregor fight the next night. And obviously he didn't know what he didn't know at the time, how crazy it would be. And then he called me the next morning and said, you know what, I'm going to ruin your event if I go. I think it'll ruin it, and they'll have to shut everything down, and I don't think it's a good idea. Let's plan this again, when there's more time to plan. And just to tell everybody, that I don't know if you know the history, but when we first bought this company, venues didn't want us. No venue wanted the UFC. And at that time, Trump reached out and asked us to come to the Taj Mahal. And that's where we ended up doing our first 2 events under the Zuffa banner. Cut us great deals, showed up at the first fight, stayed to the end. We did 2 events with him. Then we moved on to the Meadowlands. And when we left and went to the Meadowlands, he showed up to that event too, came to the first fight, stayed all night, was always good. Everything that ever happened to me in my career, Trump was the first guy to pick up the phone and reach out to me. From getting back on pay-per-view, getting our first TV deal, when we did the big Fox deal, I mean, the guy always reached out to me. Then as it was starting to hear rumors that he was running for president, I got a call one day from the New York Times. And they said, we're hearing that that Trump is going to ask you to speak at the Republican National Convention. Are you going to do it? And I was like, what? first of all, he hasn't called me and asked me anything. I don't know anything about this or whatever. And then finally, he did call me, and he said, and this is exactly how he said it, if you don't want to do this, I completely understand. But I'd be honored if you'd speak at the Republican convention for me. And I was like, I'm honored that you asked me, and of course I will. And I did it, and I'm telling you, since the guy has become president, I've been to the White House 4 times for dinner. He's been the most stand-up guy since the day I met him. And he told me, I want to come to a UFC event eventually. So we had dinner last Thursday at the White House, and he said, I'm coming to New York. And I was like, oh my God, that's going to be a rough one. Why don't we do Vegas on the 14th? And New York was the only one that he could do, so he came tonight. And I think that there's this craziness going on politically right now. If you're a Trump guy, you don't like certain types of people, or you don't like, and it's really, there's a lot of bullshit in that. The country's in a crazy place right now with all that. Did you see Michael Rappaport here tonight? Nobody hates President Trump more than Michael Rappaport, okay? And I'm very good friends with Michael Rappaport. I don't know if anybody hates, maybe Snoop hates him more than Rappaport does, and I'm very good friends with Snoop and lots of other people that are on one side or the other. This is a guy who's been a really good friend of me for a long time. He's done everything that he ever said he would do, and tonight he showed up to the event. And I think as fans of the sport, I think all of us can sort of appreciate, whatever political side you sit on, that the President of the United States came to one of our events tonight.
But again, it's a huge stadium. It's not a controlled environment. Were you nervous at all about what the crowd would be like when he walked out there?
No, I'm one of these guys, like I was just saying, whoever you are, in here in the media, or if you're Snoop, or if you're Mike, any of these guys, this is America. You can believe and do whatever you want. If you want to boo, you can boo. If you don't, I mean, as an American, you can do whatever you want to do, and you can choose whatever side you want to be on. And I feel like in these days, we live in a world where you can't come out and say who that, I'm a Trump guy, or I'm a Hillary guy, or whatever your deal is, or whatever I'm not a real political person. So, but listen, it's America. You can do whatever you want. So I just felt like tonight we were going to walk in and whatever happened. It was, the guy was told me as a friend he would come see the fights, and he did tonight. And I appreciate him, and it was a big night for the sport.
Dana over here.
Huh? Let me tell you this. So a lot of you guys have been around since the beginning. I've walked out of that tunnel for the last 20 years. I've never fucking seen anything like that in my life. Like tonight when I walked out of that tunnel with him tonight, I'll never forget it as long as I live. It was crazy.
So Dana, there's a lot of times you had goals for this sport, right? Mm-hmm. Get sanctioned, get paid, a lot of tangible things. So you literally have described, boxing basically waiting for you, showing your fights at their thing. Their biggest star has got to wait. President's here, all the different things. Are we at a stage now where you can't really fathom these goals anymore? That things are just happening that were beyond. You dreamed of being at Madison Square Garden for a lot of years, but now we're at a point where these things really probably weren't even.
Yeah, no, thanks. And yeah. I don't even know what to say to that, but yeah, it was amazing. And that's why I'm saying, like, tonight, it wasn't about how you feel politically about the president. The fact that all of us, not just me, fighters, the media, everybody who's worked in the sport for a long time to help build the sport, like I was saying, we weren't legal in New York because of some political bullshit a few years ago. Tonight, the president of the United States was here watching a UFC event. You would see like Game 7 of a World Series between the Yankees and the Dodgers, and the president would be up in a box somewhere if they ever even went to a sporting event. When Obama was the president, Obama would go to an NBA game, and you know what I mean? And And now tonight to have President Trump at an event, you know. Yeah, they wanted him in a suite, of course. Yeah, he doesn't listen to them. He does what he wants to do. But yeah, they wanted him in a suite. I'm not an expert in security, but I think it's a lot safer to protect him in a suite than it is in the second row. But again, a testament to our fans, and you know, it's the president. It's our president. It's the president of the United States, man. And tonight I was good. I was happy and proud that, you know, the crowd here in New York treated him with respect and just made the night so much cool. Everything was so cool tonight. You know, the cut sucked, but it happens. It's part of sports. Part of this sport for sure.
Dana, Caitlin Chukagian got another solid win. She was offered a title shot previously. Is it safe to assume she'll be getting offered another title shot?
Yeah, she looked good. She won. Yep.
And Johnny Walker, you know, suffered his first UFC loss after his win against Serkinov. You said you were going to kind of take things slow with him, but then he gets matched with a top guy like Corey Anderson, and you know, doesn't look great, obviously. So do you kind of regret that decision?
Yeah, It's not that he didn't look great. You can't come out and goof around like that. You got away with it when, you know, you were playing with some of these guys earlier on, but when you start to go in against a pissed off Corey Anderson, who's dead serious out there, it's just this. You can't play in this sport, man, and you definitely can't play here. You can't do that stuff.
Dana, with all the talk of the president being here tonight and how great that was and what that says, Josh Duhamel made the video board. Why was there no showing of the president in attendance for the audience to see that, other than his arrival, which you'd have to see with your bare eyes?
Yeah, we showed the arrival. We showed him on TV, but we didn't do it in house. So,
what was that decision? Why not?
I don't know. When he walked into the arena, I don't think we needed to show him on TV. I've never seen anything like that in my life. I walked in with him. The entire building was on their feet, standing as high as they could with their cell phones. I was literally blown away. I just went, holy fucking shit, I've never seen anything like this in my life.
Was there a concern that there may be a reaction that maybe would be disrespectful?
No. We walked in and the crowd was great. And then he stood up one other time and got a good reception.
Quick question on, you said no interest in running back the main BMF fight. With all the interest, clearly, traditional fans, non-traditional fans, and you said boxing and the MGM, they showed it. Why? I know you told us with the belt it was one of one time only, but with all this interest, why not pick this up where we left it off?
The rematch?
Yeah, a rematch of this BMF.
Well, Diaz has to get sewed up tonight. Then, and in 4 weeks, he's got to have plastic surgery to get all the cartilage out of his, you know, his eyebrows or whatever the doctor was telling me. He's got to have some work done. And I think that right now, Masvidal, like I said earlier, has had an amazing year. And he's going to move on to something else. I'm not saying that Diaz and Masvidal might not end up facing each other again, just not something that I'm looking at right away.
And finally, 500 events for the UFC, a league now that is synonymous with the sport. The average American believes UFC is actually the sport and not just your league. What does it mean to you to be at 500 tonight, and what would you say is the one memory above all others that stays with you at this milestone?
The memory that stands out the most, well, when people ask me that, there's so many. Obviously, tonight is one of them. When we first got back on pay-per-view, when we did our Fox deal, you know, the ESPN deal. I mean, there's just so many. This thing has gone, there's just so many different milestones and amazing, you know, moments in the business and the sport. I couldn't just pick one.
Dana, Nick Diaz walked out Nate. I was just wondering if you talked to Nick, or did you see him backstage?
I just said hi to him. We didn't talk about anything, no.
Okay, so he didn't indicate to you at all if he's at all interested in coming back, or
No. I honestly don't think Nick Diaz will fight again.
okay. And could you shed some light on the current state of the lightweight division? There's been reports that Khabib and Tony might be fighting in March or April. Is that what you're targeting at this moment in time?
Yeah. Yep. No, we're working on that. There's going to be, I mean, if you think about next year, Conor has said publicly that he wants to come back and fight next year. You got Tony versus Khabib. You got Masvidal out there now. You got Israel Adesanya, who's saying, you know, everybody thinks Yoel Romero's so tough. I'll fight Yoel Romero. And then you got Costa out there too. There's a lot of good fights next year. Oh, and we haven't even talked about John Jones. Then you still got Stipe and Cormier again. There's so many good fights next year. The end of this year, in Korea, we got that fight coming up with. Yes, yeah, we got good shit coming up. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a good year.
And you mentioned Conor's announcing of a fight. Can you give us any update on that? Apparently Cerrone's a front runner.
There's nothing done. Literally not. Zero. Conor came out and said that. People then had said, is this true? And I said, he wants to fight that date, but we literally have. Nobody's called Cerrone. Cerrone actually texted me yesterday and said, I hope all this talk is true. So there's literally nothing done. Zero.
And earlier this week, it emerged that Robert Whittaker canceled some sort of, I think it was a tour in Australia because he's been offered a fight. Can you shed some light on that?
Well, he wants to fight. He wanted to turn around immediately and fight again. So, yeah, we're working on it.
Is the winner, is Darren Till now in line to fight him?
I don't know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dana over here. As mentioned, Stephen Thompson had a very good showing tonight, but the top at welterweight is just so congested right now. We got the title fight coming up in December. We got Tyron Woodley. We got Jorge Masvidal, and Wonderboy is very determined to get another title shot. Realistically, how close is he?
I have no idea. You guys know I don't make fights the night of the fights. I don't know. Well, obviously he looked great tonight. I mean, he won fight of the night. He's looked better than he's looked in a long time. So we'll see. Was he in here already?
Yeah.
See his hand?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
And secondly, there was
that's going to be a minute.
Yeah. There was a controversial happening this week, elbow gate, where Kelvin Gastelum sort of leaned his elbow on Rafael Cordero.
Yeah.
I was wondering what your opinion is on that.
Yeah, I saw it. You know, I don't know how much pressure he had on the elbow. You know, the thing is with wrestling guys know all the little tricks and all that shit. The commission obviously didn't see it. Are they investigating that? Where's Hunter at? Yeah. Yeah, they're reviewing it.
And
they're gonna if they see something that they saw it and they think he cheated. Really? There you go. There's the answer.
Is there some kind of policy from UFC?
That's got nothing to do with me, man. That's between him and them.
And then Alexander Gustafsson retired earlier this year, but it seems that now he's having second thoughts. He's actually going to compete in Sweden in a submission wrestling event, and he's spoken to us multiple times saying that he's a little bit uncertain about his retirement. Would you like to see him back in the UFC?
Who said that?
Alexander Gustafsson.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because in just a month or so, he will compete in submission wrestling.
Right. Yeah, no, we definitely talked to him, and he definitely wants to fight again.
So he wants to fight in the UFC again. That's what he told you.
Yeah.
Is there any timeline for when he will come back? Or
no?
Okay. And finally, did he talk to Trump after the event? And what did he?
I did.
Did he have anything to say?
He loved
about
it. He had a blast. He loved it. You know, he said it was great. I mean, if the last time he was at a live UFC fight was the Meadowlands. You know, so you're talking 2001, 2002 was the last time he was there. So it's you know, when you come to one of these events, especially like tonight, it was so electric, and he loved it. And he came, he stayed the whole event. because he came earlier. He was in my room watching the prelims with me, and then we went out for the main card.
Dana, just curious, were you able to get The Rock's reaction to the BMF title stoppage, his overall thoughts of the evening, and if you think he'll be attending future events?
I think everybody was sort of, all looking at each other. And like I said, when it first got stopped, I was pissed off about the stoppage too, until I saw him backstage after, and I don't know, his eye did not look good. But he loves it. He's a big fan of the UFC, and he's a great dude.
Was Colby Covington in the building tonight?
No.
What's the reasoning behind that?
I have no idea.
Trump's biggest supporter.
I have no idea. I don't think Colby was ever planning on staying. I think he went out yesterday with, I think he had lunch with Don Jr. and Eric yesterday, and was asking if he could sit down there with those guys. But the White House controlled those seats. That was up to the president who was going to sit there. And he had senators and he had a bunch of senators and, politicians sitting with him. So, yeah, nothing negative toward Colby or anything like that. But I think Colby was always planning on going home. I think if he could have sat there, he would have wanted to.
Lastly, if you were to give tonight a grade, what grade would you give it overall from start to finish?
It's tough. I mean, the card was awesome. Co-main event was and the main event stopped with a cut. So anytime you have a place that has the excitement and the energy and all the other things that go on, if the main event doesn't, give you one of those holy shit moments that I always talk about, B-.
Dana, over here.
Hey.
Are you able to offer any details in terms of added security measures for tonight, or no?
What do you mean?
In terms of President Trump being here?
Jesus Christ.
I mean, I know we went through the bomb dogs and all that kind of stuff.
Shut down the block. If it was after like 8 o'clock, you couldn't get on this block without a ticket. As far as I know. Yeah, there was Secret Service everywhere. But I don't know about people getting in the building, but everything ran smooth back at house. They were actually really great to work with, and everything went pretty smooth.
Okay. You touched on this a little bit before, but
we lost our press room, but other than that, everything was great. Nobody got fucked but you guys.
Aside from politics and your personal relationship with him, have you been able to sort of digest the idea that the president of this country was at a UFC event? That's fairly significant, especially in New York.
Yeah, no, it's amazing, and like he and I were talking about a second ago, it's like these are just things you asked me 10 years ago, I'd tell you, I think the sport's going to be here and it's going to do this and do that. And, but like baseball games for Bush, like the NBA for Obama, right? And now the UFC as a president that attended one of the events. It's like one of the big deals. It's like you made it. It's awesome. Yep. So he wanted to be in the third row. He wanted to sit in the third row. And last Thursday I was having dinner with him and I was like, Mr. President, you don't want to sit in the third row. Third row sucks. Right? It's like, no. So it was literally a battle for a few days to get him up into the second row. He likes the third row. He likes right where he was sitting, and the third row is where he likes to be. But I negotiated him up into the second. I have no idea. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see where this takes us, in the future. I don't know. Thank you, guys. We good? Have a safe trip home. Appreciate it. Thank you.
course, but we couldn't help but notice the crutches that you came in on there. What happened? You said you came into this with an injury?
Yeah, it's just it was like the same. Does this work or this work? Yeah, it was like the same before I was meant to fight Cowboy. Last week, my knee just completely gave out and I tore it. I didn't know how bad, because as soon as it happened, I just, sort of just tried to block it out. And, everything this week, it was just one more thing on it, and so then it wasn't really hurting in the fight, but now it's just throbbing me, and it's stiffening up a bit. I'll be okay in a few days, but I'll see what's up with it, and I'll get it a little bit checked out.
What happened? Did you take a strike to the knee, or did you step on it?
I was sparring. It was probably my best day of sparring. I was just on fire, and I just got a bit overwhelmed, and as I threw a leg kick, one of my sparring partners, Chris, stepped in. So my knee sort of stopped on his leg, but my leg wrapped around, and so my knee it gave out. It's the same knee that I'd done before Cowboy. It's just problems. But listen, I'm not pulling out a no fight for nothing. I'm just not. If Kelvin would have got the victory there tonight, you wouldn't have seen me sat here talking about injuries or jet lag or visa problems. It's, as I've always said, I'm honest. I'm from the heart, and you either win or you lose, and that man who wins on that night is the better man.
You said all the right things when we spoke to you yesterday. Everything's good. But now that you're here, can you be honest? I mean, not knowing, especially not knowing you had a knee injury, but not knowing if you have a visa, if you're going to be able to get over here, the late flight. I mean, how tough was the final week in these last couple of days?
Do you want me to be brutally honest?
Please.
It was like it was like I don't know. I can't even explain it, because I'm waiting next door at the embassy in London, and it's just every day that going by is I don't know if I'm getting a visa, and I know that Dana and the guys, they had everyone. I think Dana spoke to Trump about me. I mean, that's I didn't know. There was times when I thought this fight's not happening, and that I know there was a lot given over the weight cut video with Kelvin and that, but Kelvin probably just thought, fuck this, I'm gonna eat some shit because he's not turning up. You know what I mean? And there was times when I just wanted to do it myself, and so there was that, and then there was I knew there was going to be jet lag, and I knew there was going to be water retention for weight cut, and I didn't know if the fight was happening, and I had a few injuries, and it's just that didn't mean anything to me. I wanted to just get in there. I didn't want to win. I didn't want to lose. I just wanted to be in there, and I don't even know. I can't say anything. It's I've been invincible all my life. I know my skill set I've got. I know I can beat any guy in any division. I know that with my skill set. You've seen that tonight. Number 4, Kelvin, look at the guys he's knocking out. I know it wasn't the most exciting fight, but he didn't touch me. He just simply didn't touch me. And that's no disrespect to him. That just shows my skill set. But, before Woodley, there was no one guy who could beat me. And then 2 losses like that, it just took a lot away from me, inside of me. I didn't say it, but I fought some hard demons. And then obviously stuff with getting arrested, and then there's other things, and you lose sponsors. It's like a fucking whirlwind, and it's good and it's bad, and it's, you know what I mean? So just to get in there tonight, I tell you, I was trying to fake an injury before walking out. I was thinking of an injury to fake because I just simply did not want to get in there. And this is probably things that fighters don't talk about, but me, I'm honest. And that's just where I was at. Now I'm here. Confidence is back. Fuck all these middleweights. I'm coming for everything. It's back.
I was say, with all the confidence that we know you have, you had some pretty honest quotes afterwards that you said you were fearful getting in there and a little bit afraid. So has that been rectified at this point, or do you think that's something you're going to have to deal with every time?
Every fight, no matter what any fighter will ever tell you, they will be scared. If they tell you they're not, it's a blatant lie. But this fight, I wasn't scared. I was terrified. I wasn't shaking, but I just didn't want to go. The magnitude of the event, everything. I was doubting. I was thinking of ways to get out of the fight. This was only today, and I'm just so scared. And then the first round's over. I'm like, Darren, come on, pull yourself together. And I was like, okay, now we're gonna win this fight the way we planned. We're not gonna let him touch you, and you're gonna win it on whatever. I knew it could be hard to knock him out. I know I've got the power, but I know he's a tough cookie, and that's just how it is. The fighters might not say it, but I'll always say it, whether it's good or bad. I've been criticised in the past or whatever, but that's where I was at today. As soon as I woke up.
Last thing for me, I mean, you jumped into the deep end of the division, right? Dana was in here just now, and he said, guessing he probably thinks that puts you top 6 or so in the division. I mean, where do you feel like you go here when you beat somebody that high ranked to start with? Where do you go next?
I don't know. I really don't know. I've said this. I should have said it on the mic maybe, but years ago, Israel, before I was already like sort of at the top, before I was fighting Woodley, and he identified as like the fight that was going to happen with me and him. And I want that fight for legacy. You know, I've spoke about Anfield, my hometown, the Liverpool Football Club, and that's a legacy fight for me. You know, I've said this before here on these tables. Forget the belt. Obviously, if me and him fight, the belt's up. But it's the fight with me and him that I know it's gonna be. It will, honestly, I swear to God, like I get goosebumps thinking about it. And you know, if it's that, it's that. And if it's something else, it's something else. And listen, I ain't afraid of no one. No weight division. None of them.
Darren, just over here, Robert Whittaker is keen to come back to action as soon as possible. I'm just wondering, what would you think of a matchup with a guy like Rob?
Yeah, I think it's terrific fight. You know, but we're both like strikers. I don't know really who wins in the wrestling department. No one can take me down and keep me down. That's simple. I've just moved up to middleweight, and you got Kelvin, who's an unbelievable grappler. Yeah, he took me down twice, 3 times, but he couldn't keep me there. There's no man keeping me down. So, you know, I don't know where it goes. But, as I say, confidence lacking, confidence high. I believe I beat them all. I do. I truly believe with me, the way I know I can train and my mindset is and my skill set, I can beat them all.
A lot of people sort of talking about Yoel Romero possibly getting this
title.
title.
Fuck that guy. Well, I don't want to ever fight him. He's a beast.
I was going to ask you, he's coming off a loss.
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying you're now coming off a win. I mean, logically, don't you think it makes sense for you to fight?
Listen, not make sense anymore. We've just seen the 2 gangsters fight for the BMF belt. You know, I'm gutted the way it ended. You know, I wanted to see a 5-round war. It was a good fight while it lasted, but anything's possible. 3 losses. You know, after I was coming off 2 and they put me in with Calvin, anything's possible. Anything's possible. If it's Joel, if they wait for Costa, if it's someone else more deserving than myself, so be it. And then if it's me at the end of it, you know, I'm not gonna say no. You know what I mean? There's a few watches I want to buy, so it's a payday as well. So let's do it. But for now, I'm so thrilled just to be in this. You know, I just co-main evented 26 years of age at Madison Square Garden. You know, I'm doing things that I never thought would be possible.
And just last one from me, Israel Adesanya obviously here this week. I'm just wondering, did you get a chance to speak to him at all? You guys have a lot of respect for each other. Have you run into each other at all?
We always chat on Instagram messages. I send a few memes and that. Like, he's a cool guy. And you know, it's the same thing what I said about Masvidal. 100% of me is happy for what he's doing. A few people have said like, oh, you're not angry because of what he's doing now and stuff. But when he fought me, it wasn't Till versus Masvidal. It was the Darren Till show in London. That's what it was. And then he took that from me. And the only thing inside of me now is to be there now, you know, getting all this attention. And so, you know, Israel, me and him are good, but we're going to fight. And we're going to try and take each other out. And maybe one day fight Masvidal again, get that a big rematch. He just told me in the lobby that he'd move up to middleweight. You know, I'm a scary middleweight now. I'm not cutting no weight.
Darren, you got 15 minutes over here. You got 15 minutes of experience fighting at middleweight. Overall, performance-wise, how'd you feel fighting 15 pounds heavier?
I don't really know. It didn't seem like much. Kelvin, he felt like the same amount of strength as Woodley when he had me against the cage, but I was turning him. But I do like sometimes to be on the cage. I like to think, and I know I'm very good in my defence, but I'm sure there's guys, as I said about Yoel, who I'll feel it a lot more if I ever fight some guy like him or stuff. But I feel like I'm at the right weight. Everyone looks at me now. You know, I'm no welterweight. It's just simple. You know, you can size a guy up and you can look at me from my build, but it's also my legs. My legs are humongous. So I'm just no welterweight. You know, I'm a middleweight. I'm probably not the biggest or the strongest, but you know that doesn't mean everything in a fight. You know, extra 15 pounds, it doesn't really mean a lot. To me, it's all about skill set.
was the weight cut difficult? I mean, is there? Can you put on more weight? Because you did say how you felt like he was a bit stronger than you.
Yeah, I feel like I misjudged it, but I feel like the flight just had me, it got me, because when I got off the plane, when I looked at the scales, I expected a certain weight, and it was like 2.5, wasn't it? Over what I was expecting, and I was like, oh fuck. Like, I can't be dealing with this welterweight cut again. Fuck that. So, you know, it was funny because then it was like 4 o'clock and they were saying to do this and that. I was like, fuck all that. I'm here to cut weight and fight. So I went, I cut weight, and I got all my weight off. There was like 1.5 kilos, 2 kilos left. And I said, okay, I'm going to rest for a few hours and then I'll do my last little bit. And, you know, it wasn't a struggle. It wasn't. And next time we'll be better. But there's been a lot of shit this week. So the weight cuts, knees, all that shit, it doesn't really fucking mean anything. Fighters might say it. Fighters might make excuses and that, but I'm not about that life. You know what I mean? I get in there to fight and win or lose. The man who wins is always the better man. That's how I see it.
And fans, media, and many people weren't really too happy when this matchup was first announced. They thought maybe it was a little too much for you. Do you think people forgot about your skill set and maybe made too much about your losses?
People forget that Stephen Thompson just took Vicente to town, and they forget what I done to Thompson. Now, you can think, well, you didn't do anything, but I played him in his own game. Whether you say I won or he won, I played Stephen Thompson, considered one of the best strikers in mixed martial arts, at his own game. Nearly stopped him in the 5th. So people forget. People forget all of that. Do you know what I mean? And then they're thinking, oh, Darren just goes in there to knock him out. They forget about my IQ and my skill set. So, you know, tonight they remembered. But there's always going to be all that shite. You just, as I say, the good and the bad, you just have to deal with it. But I got like a nice feeling inside of me because of how many people doubted me and how many people I know who don't think I know doubted me and stuff like that. It's very rewarding.
Darren, congratulations for getting back in the winning ways. Your friend, the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury, the lineal heavyweight champion, has recently stated he wants to get into MMA.
Yeah.
He's been calling out Stipe, Francis Ngannou. Francis is exchanging barbs with him. Let's be real. You're a realistic guy. Does he have a chance to winning in MMA if he competes?
You know, Tyson's my boy. Tyson he's proper my boy. We're under the same the same management. Any guy gets in there tries to like strike with Tyson. I had this. One of my sparring partners, a heavyweight, Tom, even said to me, he said Tyson is untouchable. He's just so good. But then you have to bring all these other factors in, takedowns and kicks and stuff. I just believe in a little bit of training, yeah. So if he wants to train with me or Connor, whatever be, you're going to train with me, obviously, because we're MTK for life. But I think he, you know, look, people want to say things. He's in WWE and that and all that, but look what he's making. This beast massive in America now, and he's making this big name, and he's making money for his family, and he's a clever man. And you got to always go back to that Deontay Wilder fight, a guy who's only 15 stone, how hard he punches at that weight, and Tyson just gets up like from the dead. So he'd do well. He fights Stipe, Francis. You know, my money's on Tyson, but you know he definitely needs to know, and I'll tell him myself that he's got to learn some certain things. MMA is different from boxing.
Lastly, Sweet Caroline, your walkout music, very unique song choice. What's going through your mind when you hear Sweet Caroline? Bum, bum, bum.
Do you know what? I'm going to tell you the brutally honest truth now is I got an email 5 days ago from the girl who does the walkouts, and I just wasn't bothered about that or anything, as I said. And she asked what music I would be walking out to, and I didn't reply. And then just before walking out, then we're calling, I said, call. I forgot. I didn't want to come out to Sweet Caroline. I just didn't want to come out to it. I don't know why. I just had fears, anything. And it come on. And I just couldn't even believe how many people were cheering for me. And then it was just on. I was like, okay, this is good. You know, but I don't think I'll ever relive that moment from when I fought in Liverpool. We'll see. Anfield's definitely the next place I'm fighting. That's the next place next year. It's going to happen. I know it's going to happen, but Sweet Caroline's the one. You know that.
Darren, where do you rate this in your career moments? Obviously, you headlined Liverpool. This is MSG. What for you is the big the big highlight of your career so far?
Everything, the highs and the lows, the losses, the wins, the controversy, everything. But when I want to sit down, when I retire, when I'm 35, I want like to have sold out Anfield and won a UFC title. That's the goal. All other things are important, but that's the goal. And right now, in my mind, I can see Anfield happening. I just can. I just can see it visually now, right now when I speak.
And how much would that mean to you to get that dream?
I'm from Liverpool. Liverpool's a very iconic city. The guys in New York, and they speak to me as well, and I say I'm from Liverpool. They didn't know the place. And I've sold out the arena there already, the Echo Arena. First ever guy in combat sports to do that. Was the first ever guy, and I'll be the first guy to do it at Anfield. There's a boxer, we've got a boxer from Liverpool, Callum Smith, and he's scheduled to fight there next year. But that's boxing. I'm MMA, so when he sells it out, and as I say, I'll be 100% happy for him, and then I'll sell it out in MMA. That's the goal right now.
Darren, do you know the severity of your knee injury?
Sorry?
Do you know the severity of the knee injury at the moment?
It's... I just since Cowboy, I've just sort of put it to the back of my mind, and I wrestle. I do everything with it, everything. I stretch it, put it behind my head, everything. I'm a flexible guy, but now it's swelled up a little bit, and this is what I always do. I'll ice it, and then when it feels good, I'll okay, fuck that. So I'm probably gonna leave it, to be honest with you. Most fighters now feeling this right now will probably get surgery, but this is not a telltale for fighters anyway to kick me, because I can take low kicks, trust me. Ex-Muay Thai fighter, but we'll see. It's not that bad.
And obviously you got a win on the big stage against the number 4 ranked middleweight. As people said, a lot of people were doubting you going into this. Do you feel that you silenced the doubters tonight?
Yeah, I do. I always talk about doubters, and I feel like I've been being doubted a lot of me. I've only been in MMA for like 7 years, 8 years. That's not a long time, and I'm 26, and as I say, sometimes you look what people write about you and what people say, and what messages you receive, and what people they think you don't know what they're saying, and just the doubt that comes out of them, it drives me on, and I feel like, as I always say, the good and bad in life, that's the bad, because it is really bad, and it's hard to take millions of people putting you down. Even though I know in myself how good my skill set is, and any one of them couldn't stand 10 seconds with me, but it drills a hole in your head, and it can affect you. And not that only affected me for this fight, just everything, coming off the losses I was coming off, and how invincible I thought I was before that. I know I'm still the greatest, but I know I've got to work at that, and now I'm just so thrilled. I don't really care about the win or whatever. I'm just so thrilled to be here. I really am. I've come back from a lot, and I don't speak about it much, but I really have. I've built myself back up. Yeah.
Nate, certainly you're disappointed with the way things ended tonight, but I mean, this was a massive event. People were more excited to see you fight than I think ever. I mean, can you give us a feel of just kind of what your emotion is like after, going through this epic event?
Do I need this? Yeah. I think I just feel like I had a non-stop fight camp. I think I could have used a little more time. My eye was already shit from my last fight. And anyways, you sneeze on me, I bleed. You know what I'm saying? Blood don't hurt, just in case everybody knows. It's just there. Yeah, fucked up.
We know your character, that you would continue fighting probably no matter what, but Dana was in here earlier. He said he hated the stoppage, but then he saw your eye and thought, well, maybe it was probably a smart call. I mean, do you feel medically that it was a wise decision to maybe prevent you from taking more damage there?
I think that the cut was, from what I'm told to and what I believe, from every fight I'm cut anyway, because it's repeated on the same eye. And then when I knew they were gonna throw me right back in immediately also. Why couldn't after the Pettis fight it be 6 months and get back in? I'm like, all right, they want me under the most fucked up circumstances, or I'm going in under the most fucked up circumstances. A little more time would have been nice, and I think that I heard that my eye was the same coming out of the second round that was coming out the third round, and the doctor played me. He like, oh man, I don't know. I like, no, I'm good. Well, he asked me, you good? You can see? I'm like, yeah, cool. And then he goes back to the other guy and he's like, fight top. I'm like, what the fuck? So yeah, and not to mention, I don't like to make it. You've heard it before probably, but I had a knee injury about 3 weeks ago, and it kept me from running. And that's why I tell all my boys all the time, if you're gonna be fighting people, you have to run. You have to run hard, and you have to do rounds. You have to spar and you have to run. That's key, And so I didn't have that, and I don't feel like I had the confidence that I usually had in my cardio. As far as going and pushing, I knew I could make it 5 rounds for sure, no matter what. But I couldn't keep the pressure. I didn't have the confidence to keep the pressure I usually keep, because I want to make sure I pace that out good. And it started to happening. I was like, okay, I feel you holding on, trying to slow this fight down. So I was putting the punches on the cage. He was holding me, doing nothing. I was hitting him, and his head was turning the other side. I was hitting him the other way. I'm like, oh, you don't want to work no more. And on the bottom too, on the ground. So I think it was gonna start looking better for me. And like I said, I wasn't running, so it was a slow start. It could have went better. But that's the name of the game, right? Everybody's. I've said it before, but I got to do what I got. Somebody in the fight earlier got wrecked. I think it was the Mohawk homie. What's his name? Yeah, Johnny Walker I saw him. He got hit, and then he knocked down. He jumped back up all fast, trying to kill the guy back. And I'm like, that's not how you do it. You know what I'm saying? You need to just slow it down, recover, get time, and make it through that fight. You know what I'm saying? Because otherwise you're gonna lose, and I ain't planning on losing no fight ever. You don't have to kill me. So I believe that the stuff would start to turn around for me.
Last thing for me, I mean, obviously you got to heal up and that sort of thing. Masvidal said in there he'd love to run it back with you. Dana said he doesn't know if that's going to happen right away. Give us your thoughts. I mean, do you want to run this back right away, or are there other fights that interest you?
Yeah, because hey, if you're the baddest motherfucker, you gonna take that as a win. I mean, it's just like Conor when I fought Conor. Like, it was a win. It was fair game. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't finished. He knows I wasn't finished. So I was ready to rock. And that's my plan. That's my next move. I would love to run it back. That's the only thing I want to do. And that's my full intention now. But I could already see the fuckery coming. I know how this game works. I give all the rematches and make names for all these people. I believe I was responsible for this whole shit. I brought the president. Straight up. I didn't see president going to no title fights. So I believe I believe it's fair, and if hopefully they don't throw a bunch of money or clout Jorge's way to be like, let's do something else. He's got to fight number 27 again, because that's the name of the game when it's repetitive, you know. And see, Dana already talking that shit, you know what I'm saying? So I need to get my rematch, and I'm come back, do things right, do things safe, come back 100% and win this fight, and seal the real deal.
What does that timeline look like for you? Because Dana mentioned that you might have to get some plastic surgery done. Obviously, you got the cuts there. You mentioned the knee, and it sounds like maybe you're a little mentally fatigued from the back-to-back camps.
Yeah, for sure. I would like a little more time. Like I said, even the last time, like when I beat Conor, like why did they throw me back in so quick? After I fought Pettis, they threw me back in quick because maybe they were desperate for a show. You know what I'm saying? Where were they gonna get the show from? You know, they don't got nobody to get no show. Presidents don't come for no title fights. They come to fucking bad motherfucker fights. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, fuck The Rock too, man. That motherfucker over here playing me. See him over here smiling with Masvidal. Should have had Mike Tyson handing out a belt if anybody. I didn't give a fuck about no belt anyway, but he could get it too.
Do you think, what did Jorge say to you in the cage there after the fight was over? It sounds like when he did his interview, he wants to run it back too.
Yeah, he said let's run it back too. And you know, I think he's a real fighter like I am. That's why this all happened. I'm not gonna come back for no phony making no names for people. I've been making names for people for years. I used to fight at 155. Every person I fought, they would even talk about it and say he gets a title shot if he beats Nate. But that's a weird thing to say. Like, he gets a title shot if he beats me. What do I get? You know what I'm saying? You get number 27 again. So it's like, I think that he should. I think that he'll run it back. I think you're gonna be a man of your word. You got to run that back, and a real fighter will. And you know, that's what Conor didn't take the rematch. Hopefully Masvidal takes the rematch. I'll be taking all the rematches. You know what I'm saying? With that, because I'm like, yeah, I won and I'll do it again. So that's what I hope we could make happen here, and I hope everybody like gets on the same page and we work together. Otherwise, it might be a fuckery 3-year off again, just like I seen, and I already could see it coming in the media with this Dana White. I don't know about that. You know, that's how it starts. You know what I'm saying? I've seen this repeat. I have more fights than anybody in the UFC. You know what I'm saying? So maybe there are people with a couple more, but I would have more if I would have not been out for 3 years from being fucked from the UFC. So my plan is to tell them all, fuck you, and then hopefully we get along soon, and then let's get back at it. That's my plan. You know what I'm saying? You got to kill me in there, you know what I'm saying? And you know, I made this whole shit happen, and I would like for it to happen again. Yeah, fuck you with all due respect.
So is it fair to say if you don't get this rematch, you're willing to sit out again, you know, go do whatever, you know, you've been doing outside the cage prior to the past fight?
Yeah, or come back at me with some 100%, like, you know, don't play me like you have. And this is where it all starts. I can feel it already. So if we're going to do something else, you know what I'm saying, don't be telling me I got to fight Joe Blow over here, because I don't even want to hear that. And then saying we offered them fights. I ain't trying to hear all that. I plan on getting along with them. I hope they plan on getting along back.
Nate, like you said, this all was something that you created. What did you think of the physical belt, and how did it make you feel that being wrapped around Jorge's waist?
Yeah, whatever about the belt, you know what I'm saying? It's the whole, you know, let me get a fair, you know what I'm saying? You only lose when you lose, and I lose. You know, take me out, clean out. And I don't believe I lost. You know what I'm saying? I think they stopped it, and that's fair to say that. That's how they do it, you know, but can we get this ran back, please?
And obviously, if that does happen, do you see that? Obviously, you know, like you said, you brought Trump out for this one. Can you see the rematch being any bigger than tonight? terms of the scale of the event?
Yeah. I'm sure every fight that I'm gonna do from here on out is gonna be the biggest fight because I'm the realest fighter in this whole game, and we'll see if he is.
Nate, back over here to your right. Can you just talk about? I know it was a topic all week, but coming out of here from Sacramento, Stockton, just to be able to headline the Garden and what that meant, and then to actually do it tonight, even though it ends on terms that you wish didn't happen. I mean, just what did it mean to step foot in that Garden and just see everyone?
It was great, and it's great. All the love I get from the people, from the fans, from even the media. Everybody been showing me love the whole time, and recognizing that I've been here for long. I've seen articles from all you guys, and it was cool as hell, And I still got the love, even coming all the way out to the East Coast, banging on everybody. You know what I'm saying? West Coast and all over the place, and it was still love, and I appreciate it. And I just did all that too initially to start the fight, to get the fight, because they're not giving me no fights, you know what I'm saying? And I know they're not going to give me another good fight that I want, because I've already been through it. So it's kind of like give me what the fuck I deserve, you know what I'm saying? I believe I deserve a rematch. I've given mine, and to answer your question, yeah, it's great. It's a big historical thing, whatever. I'm dealing with the loss right now, but you know what I'm saying? It's pretty cool to come out here and headline Madison Square Garden and be this big of a deal. And like I said, the president came out and all this stuff. Man, ain't no president never came out for no fight. You know what I'm saying? So I think that the people can understand that. You know what I'm saying? When I spit it, that I wanted the Masvidal fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, even the people who are too big to talk about the fighters, superstars and shit, they saw it and they could feel it too. That's what drove the president here. That's what drove anybody to watch. Because they're like, no, we know. Because a lot of these, I see superstars all the time, and I find out they know me and like me, and they give me shots out and shit. And I'm like, because as long as they've been superstars, 15 years ago, they wasn't even superstars yet. They was watching me on TV fighting people. So they see, and that's what I believe brings all the attention, is that they could hear and they could feel the real.
And then my final question: Do you know how many stitches you had tonight?
Same as always, 6 or 7 or 8. I don't know. Fuck, nigga, I got unlimited record for stitches. But you sneeze on me, I bleed. So it's not a thing.
Hey, Nate. If the fight wasn't going to get stopped, what was going to be your game plan for the 4th and 5th round?
Well, I swear to God, I initially was like, man, I hope I haven't been running, because my confidence wasn't as high as it is, because I'm running and I'm putting these miles that people can't keep up with, except for Jose and Allen. But when I'm like that, I could go 95% for the whole time. You know what I'm saying? So this time there was like little bump ups of how hard I was going to like tell myself, okay, ease up, and I was like, around the 3rd round, I've started to feel him start grabbing onto me on the fence. You could see he was like holding me in the fence one time, and I was like, this fool's gonna go for a takedown or something, or start drilling me with these knees, and he wasn't doing anything. I was like, oh, okay, you're just preserving. So I started smacking him in his face this way, like that, and his head turned to the side. I started smacking him in his face this way. Not even technical fighting, schoolyard. Like, oh, you're gonna just hold me? I'm just gonna smack you in your face as many times. So, and on the bottom, and I was hitting him. I was like, "Where you at, motherfucker?" And then he spit it back. Oh, I'm right here. I'm right. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, I hear you starting to fade away. I think it's gonna start getting better for me. And then I go back to my corner, and I'm telling my corner over here, they're talking to me. I'm like, hey, Ken, let's calm down a little bit, because I always get a ruckus out the corner because I bleed everywhere. And so I'm like, hey, let's just chill so I can breathe. And I'm looking over here. I'm like, yeah, I think this guy's easing up. I think if it's going to get better for me, it's going to start getting better for me right now. And then the guy's like, oh, I'm like, no, we good. We good. And he's like, okay, we're good. And he goes over and he stops the fight. And I'm like, dude, are you fucking kidding me? That pisses me off. You know what I'm saying? It makes me really mad.
One more question, Nate. What's it like being a new dad and also a fighter? Has that changed you at all?
Yeah, I don't got nothing to do with it though. This is a fucking fight game, you know what I'm saying? I hate when people be holding babies and shit, telling everybody, you know what I'm saying? Them babies don't need to be watching no fighting. It ain't got nothing to do with it. I don't need no baby pity either. You know what I'm saying? They don't need to know about none of that shit. There's war. All the way war. You got to kill me. Didn't get killed. You know what I'm saying? On the biggest stage, on the biggest thing ever, and it just irritates me. But in the defense for everybody else, I shouldn't have got hit and cut. But if I had the confidence, like I said, to go in there, I could have had more better movement, like with the Pettis fight, and I could have been like, you know, strategic. Right here for this fight, I'm gonna tell you what happened. I was like, I have to stop training about 2.5 weeks ago. Like, I just have to stop training, and I'm gonna make it to this fight. Most motherfuckers would have pulled out, you know what I'm saying? But I'm like, I'm gonna make it to this fight because you know what? What happened if I didn't make the fight? That would be weak. Ain't no bad motherfuckers pull out of fights. You know what I'm saying? The second Conor McGregor fight, I was fucked. He ran for his life now, you know what I'm saying? He ran for his life in the fight, and then he went off to go on well, you know what I'm saying? I can't be mad at him for going and making millions and millions of dollars. What, you know what I'm saying? So that could be justified like that. I'm like, okay, you had to do what you had to do. But me as a fighter, I can't live with that. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, if I got choked out on my face and it came back and won a decision, that doesn't justify it for me. I have to beat you. You know what I'm saying? And that's just like this fight. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to come get all my hundreds of million dollars after I finish because you killed me. So that's how I feel about this one.
And hey, just over here, just sort of going off Conor as well. Also, you know, with Dana White saying that he's not too interested in this rematch, and you saying that you don't want Joe Blow, you want someone sort of 100%. You know, could this be time for a Conor trilogy potentially? Would that interest you?
Look, if anything else, I'm doing rematches only that I never got back, you know? But I would like this one.
Also, you mentioned before that The Rock can get it as well. What exactly did you mean by that? What was it that The Rock did?
Nigga, he's on that side. Fuck him. I'm on the West Coast side. Mike Tyson should have been here anyway. He's the baddest man on the planet, right? He should have been the one. He should have been the one over here. I'm over here on The Rock, huh? You guys caught me under a bad time, but you know what I'm saying? The Rock's cool. I like ballers. You know what I'm saying? But he picked the wrong side. He picked another side, so he could get it too. He could get his ass whipped too, straight up. With all due respect, he could get it too.
And sorry, just one more follow up on that. Was it him smiling on Jorge? What do you mean by him?
No, I just know he was on his side. He's got to be though. He's from the same town and all that. Saying he got to be. But you know, you on his side, fuck you.
Oh, one last question, right here in front. You did say you got 5, 6, 7, however many stitches you're not sure about. How bad is the upper brow? Because Dana was like, yeah, it looked like it was hanging off.
He's full of it.
Always
full
is.
of it.
But
when he said that to me, I looked at my boy and I was like, it's the same as every cut. It's the same thing as every cut. I have the same cut every time. After I lost fought Pettis, I went back and trained like a week later, and I split it right back open. You know what I'm saying? Like halfway, I was like, damn, this thing cuts right back open every time. And then when he said that to me, he said, I look like your eyeball is gonna fall out. I like that. My homie, I was like, hey, is my eyeball about to fall out? And he's like, no, it's the same like last time. I was like, man, this dude's being over dramatic about it. So that's what he does though. He goes like, oh man, I think that he didn't stand a chance in there, man. It's good they stopped doing. They didn't. How many fights you been in, Dana?
Nate over here. How did it feel to have Nick walking you out?
Nick, it's better to have Nick around all the time, always. So that's what I've been thinking about the whole time from when he fought KJ. He went and got the surgery on his eyes after that fight too, because he was cutting every fight wide open. Yeah, after that he did. He did his thing.
Yes, Nate. It seemed like there were a couple of instances during the fight where you and Masvidal said stuff to each other. Do you recall any of the other things that you guys said to each other?
No, a couple of times I had stuff to say. He had stuff to say back, so it's cool. But the last thing he had to say was a little less. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have too much breath in there to be spitting it. That's when I went. That's when I knew. I was like, okay, things might be getting better for me right now.
And also, you mentioned that if you don't get the Masvidal rematch or McGregor, you said there are a couple of other rematches that you haven't gotten that you were interested in. Which ones?
No, I just never have got rematches. I lost to wrestlers over the. That's when I said back in the day, like, I ain't fighting running no more wrestlers no more, because they don't win the fights. They get a hold of you and they don't let go, and then I punch them in their face 100 times, and then they won for holding my hips or something. And I'm like, dude, can I get a rematch? No, we're not interested in that. I'm like, what? So I'm like, I'm not fighting no more lames. I'm only fighting killers. So it's like, we can have a real fight.
And the last one for me, like you said, you're not interested in Joe Blow, number 27. I don't think most people are either.
Yeah, but I mean it though.
Yeah, of course.
The other guys are too broke because they don't open their mouths. And then they ask you, is fighting number 27 get dropped down the scale? I'm like, no. I've been making too many names for too many people out here. You know what I'm saying? And then, yeah, I don't know.
Well, in that case, what other fights would interest you? Because it's not certain that you and Masvidal can get it going when,
Right now, only that rematch is the only thing I'm interested in.
Okay, thank you.
Nate over here. I'm sorry. What do you say to the irony that something called the baddest motherfucker is decided by a cut?
That's what I'm saying.
There's irony in this. Elaborate, please.
Is that? Come here a little bit. Yeah. Like you were saying, I think that it doesn't make it official, right? It's not official. Cause if someone else decided the fight was over, I don't feel too bad as motherfuckery about that fight. No, for sure not. He deserves everything he gets, man. He's a great fighter and been around for a long time, and right on to him. You know what I'm saying? But hey, Jorge Masvidal, I'm coming for you. That's my plan from here on out. It's good talking to everybody. I'm gonna get going. Thank you very much.
Hello, everybody.
Or soaking it in a little bit. I mean, you had this massive, huge event, financially successful. You had a phenomenal performance in there. You won all 3 rounds, 10-8, a couple of them. And then just the only thing that doesn't go right is to get the perfect ending, I'm sure, the way you wanted to get, a nice, clean stoppage. So what is the emotion like right now? I mean, everything great except for maybe just didn't walk out of the cage you wanted to.
As far as painting my Picasso, I almost got to do it, I heard a lot of comments. I read a lot of media stuff, people talking about the later the fight goes, or if the fight hits the ground, or in certain situations, I'd be outworked or outclassed. Not happening. I want somebody to pull up a fight that I've faded in the 4th or 5th round. That's not going to happen. What happened in the 3rd was just going to keep happening in the 4th and in the 5th. Haven't eaten either, so. Oh, yeah. That's good pizza. Fuck yeah. So, I was ready to fuck him up. Keep going, man. Nate's a fucking dog, though. Because those same shots I've hit a lot of people, I fold them like a long chair. You literally got to kill that dude. I said in every interview leading up to this, or it wasn't a line, man. You got to kill that dude.
Let's say you were smiling in there. It looked like you were having fun. I mean, you were talking a little bit. Yeah. How did the fight play out versus your expectations? You knew he was going to be tough, but it seemed like you were having success in most aspects of it.
That's exactly how we saw the fight playing out. We'll touch him up in the chin. If he's still there after I touch him up in the chin, we'll work the body, and we'll go back to the chin. We'll win the wrestling scrambles. We'll win the clinch work. And he'll just get tired from the damage that we're putting out. I have one of the best gas tanks in this division. I'm going to prove it at some point against everybody. I didn't feel that I was getting tired, at all. I think he was a little bit more tired because he had to step on the gas a little harder than I did, especially with the body shots I was landing.
You immediately said, hey, we can run it back because of the way it ended. Dana came in here and said, listen, I don't know. I don't think that's the way I want to go right now. So tell us what you think. I mean, obviously, you're going to have a lot of options on the table. Is there something that, like, inside you that really, really wants to run this back next? Or do you feel like, maybe you could run it back in the future at some point? There's other things up right now. What makes sense to you?
I'm the most competitive person this whole fucking company's ever seen, man. I don't want nothing to take my greatness to say some guy tripped on the pebble and that's how I beat him. That's not me. I want to end him. I want to send him off to another dimension. I got nothing but respect for the dude, but that's the type of artwork I like to do. I didn't get it on this one. Are we going to rematch tomorrow, next week? I don't know, but it will happen at some point,
Would you prefer it be next, or would you be open to other fights first?
I'm open to the money, and he's a money fight. If Canelo wants to get his ass kicked, that's a fight I'll take, I'm just here to get the biggest checks possible. But Nate is in the future for a fact. We're doing it next year, the year after that, but it's going to happen.
Last thing for me, Jorge, is as you were leaving, it was tough to see. It looked like somebody in the crowd went after you, or there was some kind of little incident off to the side as you were leaving the octagon before you made your way past press row. Do you know what happened over there?
No, those are rumors, man. Ain't nothing happened.
You just said if Canelo wants to get it, right? When did that possibility come into your mind?
I can box. I get hit hard. I got different angles. I'm not going to get tired in a 12-round boxing event, especially if I have time to prepare for it. It's just kind of fate. He's fighting today. I'm fighting today. I heard we killed him on the fucking pay-per-views. UFC, what up? You're welcome. I don't know. I'd like to break his face, man. Just fight. Just test myself. Make a lot of money for testing myself. But I truly feel I can make it 1-1 MMA versus boxing.
Fair enough. And you said after the win over Askren that you wanted the UFC to find someone who could beat you. Does that person exist on the roster right now after this win tonight?
I'll prove it that they don't exist.
I mean, this rematch thing, we'll see how it plays out, but I think in a lot of people's minds, if Colby Covington beats Kamaru Usman next month, it's the fight people want to see. How close of an eye are you going to be keeping on that fight?
If I have trouble sleeping, I hang out, smoke weed, and fucking pass out and eat a lot of food and stuff. I don't need to see that fight, so I won't be watching that shit. And that's just math speaking. I mean, who the fuck have they knocked out? I got more stoppages this year than them their whole fucking career combined. That's just math, though. You can look it up. Yeah, I know you guys like that. That's just the truth, man. Are we gonna fight when that championship of sissies is done? and the dust settles, and if one of them makes it to the fight, because these guys are always pulling out against each other, I'll be there when the dust settles. I don't know when or not, but it's on my terms though now. And this fight, I told the UFC, I told my manager, I wasn't going to fight no more after July. The fight was not that long, my last one, before this one. But the training camp was about 12 weeks, and I had suffered a couple of hand injuries going into the fight. Thank God it didn't last long. And I didn't want to fight this year. They called me with the greatest opportunity of my life, and I said, fuck it, let's do it. Let's risk it all. I won, so I am going to take a little bit of time off, heal my hands, get a couple injuries right, and that's it. Get right back at it next year.
Last thing for me, you spoke a little bit about this year, but when Dana was in here, he said he thinks you're the front runner for Fighter of the Year this year. I think a lot of people would agree. Can you just reflect a little bit on your journey this year from beating Darren Till to knocking out Ben Askren to what you did tonight?
I got a lot of things to do in my book before I close it off. Before I close this chapter and move on to the next in my life, I'm pointing in the right direction. I'm getting out these pages filled out. If I get Fighter of the Year, now I can give a fuck less. But my own personal goals and stuff, I will have them met before this career of mine is done. I got about 3 to 4 more years for you guys to enjoy this violence, so tune in.
Hey, Jorge, here to the side. So we got to see the BMF belt unveiling on Friday. You finally got it now. What's your opinion on the belt, on the design?
I love the fucking belt. I love it. It's dark. Man, I love it. I love it. It doesn't look like any other belt that the UFC's ever made. I fucking personally love it, man. I'd rock that shit. I'd wear that out in public, maybe.
So we're going to see a couple pictures on social media? You out in town with it?
Yeah. You'll see me a couple pictures. But also I'm the type of dude, and I'm going to sound like I'm greedy, which I am. I live in the future, man. This thing is cool, but I'm not going to be in every interview like that. Like them cocksuckers. Okay, look at me. I got an interim belt. That's not me, man. I want the next belt, man. So this one's cool, but I'm going to get more.
And there were a couple instances in the fight, you and Diaz were saying things to each other. Do you recall any of the word exchanges?
That's just man talk. That's just two men talking. Chopping it up. Talking work, workshop shit.
And I know you said that you want to take some time off, heal and such, but you also said that you want the big money fights and such. Conor McGregor said that he is going to come back January 18th. And Dana White said...
Come back to what?
To MMA, to the UFC.
What do you mean, like fighting in the cage?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That dude's been talking wild for a second. If he fights and gets a victory, and he wants this, and some of you motherfuckers are mean, man, because you know what the fuck I'll do to that little dude, bro. I'll fuck that little guy up, man. He's a fucking midget. Dana White, president of this motherfucking company, said I'm too much man for him. I get it why people want to see him hurt for the stunts he's been pulling. But he don't want this shit. He's just talking so he can get his name out there. He was cheering for Nate. He wanted to run it back with Nate. You think he's at home seeing that fight saying, I want to fight that dude? That dude ain't retarded. You see, he punches old people in the face because those are fights that he could win. He don't want this shit.
Just lastly for me, Dana did kind of change.
You know he doesn't want this shit. Dana and them might try to promote it. I don't even think Dana's going to promote that fight because that dude, you can't get that guy to sign the paper.
So you were having a whole lot of success really early, connecting on a lot of combinations. Was it a strategy to really go after combos instead of single shots, following up with a big kick that busted him open? Was that a specific thing you guys had looked for, or was that just something that happened and you saw it and went for it?
Combo platter. We train all aspects of it, and we take combos or we take single shots, Those body shots, man, you guys got to look at the tape. Those body shots I was landing to the body, was no way he was going to outdo me in the 4th and 5th rounds because those body shots take a toll on your fucking legs, man. And he knows it and I know it. I wasn't going nowhere in that 4th and 5th round. That's why I had that big smile on my face. I wanted to get after it, man. I didn't get to put my signature on that drawing, but whatever, on the next one.
Just wondering, Jorge, you mentioned how the belt might go around town with you. Do you think...
I'm sorry. More pizza.
More pizza over here.
I'm running out of pizza. I'm about to walk out this motherfucking interview. More pizza, please. Hurry up, somebody.
I'm just wondering, do you see that as a belt that you'll be defending, like in the next fight? Will you be taking it out and sort of putting it on the line, or is this sort of a one-and-done situation in your mind?
Says 1 out of 1. I'm not giving this belt to nobody, And if you want to try to come get it, you're going to have a fucking problem. I want everybody else's belt, so like I said earlier, I'm a greedy motherfucker, man. They say there's some rumors going around about some other belt. I want that belt. And every belt that I can get my hands on, and I'm not even joking.
I'm just wondering, obviously, The Rock put it around your waist. It was almost like we were in some kind of surreal universe. What was that experience like for you being in Madison Square Garden and The Rock's putting a BMF title around your waist as you get more pizza?
Please, thank you, kind sir. Round of applause for this gentleman. Who is this guy, man? Fucking great dude, just handing out pizza. Say it again.
The feeling of The Rock putting a BMF title around your waist in the middle of Madison Square Garden, sold-out crowd after a win over Nate Diaz.
Well, I guess I'll open up now. Before the interviews and stuff, though, I'd get asked every time. I kept men in blacking myself because I don't want to think about the dude, The Rock, is going to put the belt on me. Mr. President is here. And my favorite fighter of all times that I've never gotten to meet, though this is a small circle for fighters, is here watching me fight live, and he's walking me out. And I'm headlining MSG, and I'm fighting for that BMF belt, and I'm fighting an opponent that wakes me up, that I say, fuck, I want to fight this dude. All these things, I had to put them aside and just be like, man, it's a fight. Now I could elaborate a little bit more on it. Fucking awesome, man. The Rock, my favorite action star, put the belt on me. My favorite fighter of all times, fucking walked me out. That's insane, man. The only time you see me fanboying hard like that you ever see me was with Duran, man. I was like a kid in a candy store, but I didn't leave that dude alone, man.
And just quickly, obviously, Roberto Duran took you out. Well, I saw he took you out to dinner last night, took you to a restaurant where he used to go.
Yeah.
Just quickly on that experience, what was that like? And what is a meal before a fight? I mean, you would have been tempted. I know you're a bit of a foodie.
Oh no, I eat everything I want when it's all said and done. After I make weight, I eat whatever I want. I'm not like pescatarian or vegan and that shit. I eat whatever the fuck I want. Seafood diet. It was awesome because he had a little bit of sauce in him, and he just started saying stories, and it was like, wow, I wish I had more time. I'd give you some of these fucking amazing stories. It's so good and so detailed, and he's just a funny dude, bro. If he was around during the UFC time, he'd fucking just take over with his fucking stories and the way he carries himself. He just takes over the room. He had maybe like 3 stories that had everybody on the floor fucking rolling, man. Crazy.
Jorge, over here. Hey, you said you were planning to rest up a little bit, but if something is to happen with either Usman or Covington, would you be willing to step in and save the day at UFC 245?
I'd be the hero they need, but they don't deserve, man. They'd have to whip out the checkbook like they haven't done it. My hands are fucked up, man. You know, I usually don't say too much about my injuries, but my hand is a little jacked up, man. I need some rehab on it. So if I was to get in, especially those crotch sniffers, I know I could hit them with a fucking knee or something. So I could do it, but they gotta, you know, Dana's not gonna like the figure. Neither's Hunter, the UFC, you know. So I'm gonna put it out there anyway, so it's out in the universe. One of those sissies gets hurt, they gotta pay me, man. They gotta fucking pay me, man.
You said you were one of the most competitive people of all time.
Yes, sir.
At any point tonight, how this fight ended, did you consider not accepting the belt?
Nah.
Not for a second?
Nah, because I knew I whipped him too. If this was not a main event anywhere else, it's 3 rounds, I clear-cut won, you know? No doubt in my mind I won those 3 rounds.
Okay, so if you run it back, the belt will not be on the line? You're keeping it no matter what now?
That says 1 out of 1, my brother.
Okay.
What you do for the meanest motherfucker belt after this? Because that's me also.
Jorge, over here, to your left. Where would you rank this moment among other moments in your career?
It's up there. It's up there. There's a lot of moments that helped me get here that I maybe rank smaller, though they're little moments, you know? Some of you might not even know about them. But this is definitely up in the top 5 moments of my career, for a fact.
And I know you had some reservations about fighting in New York, given what happened with the stoppage. Is that what you were possibly afraid of?
Well, backstage, I kept asking the doctors, how bad was the cut? How bad was the cut? So they showed me a couple pictures, and then one of the doctors came and goes, man, don't worry about the cut. Me personally, he was taking too much shots. I was going to go in the 4th if you kept clipping him, and I was going to stop it because there's too many shots. New York, I know, has had some trouble in the past with deaths and stuff. So it's kind of like, man, I had him on both angles, you know. And what did they want me to do? And then New York, They fucking turned on me, man. Boo the doctor and shit. Don't boo me. I'm the one that did the fucking damage. It's not my fault. I want to keep going. I'm a fucking dog, man. I want to see the person with no life in him when I'm done. It's not my fault.
Y en español, el público latino te ha estado apoyando mucho, especialmente en esta etapa. No sé si quieres usar esta plataforma y decirle algo al público latino que te ha estado apoyando tanto.
Morgan, translate for me. Siempre a mi público latino, cuando yo empecé en los patios y gente de los patios, ellos siempre estaban ahí conmigo desde el principio y van a estar conmigo hasta el final. Yo soy el gallo de ellos y ellos lo saben. Y se lo enseñé hoy porque uno de los perros más grandes que hay en todo el deporte es Nate Diaz. Y yo le enseñé quién es más perro, quién es más gallo a toda mi gente latina. Sin duda todos los latinos están conmigo. Eso no ni se puede dudar.
Gracias, Jorge.
Gracias, hermano. You got that, Morgan?
Jorge, down to your right here. 2019, the last 7 months of 2019 have been phenomenal for you, where you've racked up 3 wins against 3 of the biggest names in the promotion. What?
3 stoppages, baby.
All right.
With a record-breaking thing. Don't sell me short.
I'm not trying to. Okay, I'll add in the 5-second, the fastest knockout in UFC history. How can you top that in 2020? I meant his entire run. No, 5 seconds.
It's getting top. The same way that gentleman there, Abraham Count, with my team, when I came back into this into the sport after the step back, I went in detail with what I was gonna do and the things that I would do. And at first, though, they're my peoples. They love me. I love you, George. They were like, man, you're a little fucking crazy, man. You're fucking 34 years old. You've been doing this 16 years. I said, just give me a chance. Just get the toughest fights out there and watch what I do. I had a good run in 19. It's gonna be better 2020. I guarantee you that.
Thank you.
Thank you guys, man. Good questions today, man. You guys keep it up, step it up. I like this, stepping it up.
At Metro, the best deal in wireless is on. Get a full Amazon Prime membership included. Awesome! Switch today and get 2 unlimited lines with Amazon Prime included. All for just $90. Only at Metro.
It all comes down to this. Tyron Woodley and Kamaru Usman.
They all got something to say. Better get out of my way. Go for the takedown. Levels to this, not the same now. What a performance for Kamaru Usman.
There's a new welterweight king. And who might be next?
I'm the best welterweight on the planet right now. And a lot of people hate. What's up, Usman? You suck. Hey, you suck, Usman. You next. You next. Yeah, paving the way. I come alive when it's late in the day. We need it all, couldn't take it away. I've been the villain that's saving the day. Hey.
Kobe really made a statement. This performance is going to heighten anticipation for Covington and Kamaru Usman.
Marty, fake news, man. Where you at? We can do it tonight. We can do it right now. Where you at, Kobe? Let's do it. I got a monster inside of me. I got a monster inside. Don't want to see all that side of me. Really, there's nowhere to hide. I've been an animal. I see the fear in your eyes. Move like a cannibal. Yeah, I'm ready to rise.
I want to that guy up so bad. I'm going to enjoy brutalizing him.
Yeah, I'm ready to rise. Hot like I'm flammable. I got the fire inside.
His wrestling is not even close to my level. His cardio is not even close. He's going to get exposed. There's nowhere else to run. Now I'm going to melt that snowflake.
Max Holloway is the greatest featherweight champion of all time. He's cleaning his division out. I got a monster inside of me. I
consecutive wins, 7-0 in the UFC. Amanda Nunes.
She is unquestionably the best.
The Iron Lady, Germaine de Randamie, 10-time World Muay Thai champion.
At Metro, the best deal in wireless is on.